Welcome. In light of recent changes to the CCIP in support of the EdSteps 3-year transition pilot, we're going to review the process of completing the needs assessment and plan for districts that will not be using the One Needs system. During this presentation, we'll discuss the planning process, the steps to completing the needs assessment, the elements of a comprehensive plan, the process of creating the plan, and some changes to the CCIP system for fiscal year 21. The EdSteps process is designed to change the way the Ohio Department of Education collaborates internally and with local education agencies. EdSteps will transform the way we provide support and cultivate collaboration at many levels, create a process that makes sense for districts and drives continuous improvement, and support that process with new technology tools. We really want to reiterate the importance of working together. This entire project, both the process and the technology tools, must be developed with all stakeholders. This is vital to the success of the project. Feedback is encouraged throughout. Even if you're not participating in the pilot opportunities this year, we encourage and welcome your feedback and ideas on how we can improve our processes and system. Let's begin by discussing the process. The CCIP consolidated application process involves 3 components to meet compliance for receiving federal funds. The first step is the comprehensive needs assessment. All districts must complete a comprehensive needs assessment. The decision framework system has been retired. This year only, there are 2 options. Districts can either complete the new One Needs assessment, or they can complete the needs assessment in the CCIP planning tool. Step 2 is creating a comprehensive plan. All districts must complete a comprehensive plan that addresses the needs identified in their needs assessment. That plan will include SMART goals, evidence-based strategies, and action steps that are specific to the district and each building. Plans can be written for 1, 2, or 3 years, depending upon what cohort you belong to. Finally, all districts are required to complete a funding application. The uses of funds must meet the intent and purpose of each of the grants and align to their comprehensive plan. For local education agencies using the CCIP needs assessment for their fiscal year 21 planning and funding application, plans will be due by June 30th, along with their funding application. The next section will focus on the elements of a comprehensive plan and the process of writing. Each plan should have SMART goals, evidence-based strategies that will support those goals, data collection and analysis of student performance and adult implementation measures, and ongoing progress monitoring of the implementation to measure success and create recommendations for change. Plans should also contain action steps for implementing the plan, coaching and leadership development, and an assessment of sustainability. An assessment of the local education agency's needs helps to ensure that federal funds are directed to the areas where they can have the most benefit. Other than some changes to labels, the needs assessment in the CCIP should look familiar. In the Stakeholders section, you'll indicate which groups of stakeholders were involved in the assessment of needs and the development of the plan. A broad group of stakeholders should be included. Input may be collected through surveys, team meetings, advisory groups, and other mechanisms. In the next section, you'll provide information about the relevant data points used to assess your needs. These are district-identified data drawn from multiple data sources. Report card and other academic data should be included. You also should include other relevant data such as dropout, discipline, mobility, and attendance rates. These data will inform your priority needs and improvement areas. Be sure to consider student subgroups in your data analysis. especially if there's an area that is not performing as well as all students. Here's an example of a need a district identified. MAP data show only 47% of all students met their growth measure in math and 48% in reading. Funds are needed for intervention materials, as well as hardware or software for intervention and targeted programs in reading and math for students at risk. Once your relevant data have been reviewed, you'll complete the Priority Needs Statements section. These are the priorities identified by the local education agency that are going to be the focus of your improvement plan. Your priority needs should become your SMART goals in the plan. For example, your priority need may be that the district needs to improve its graduation rate by aligning its curriculum to Ohio's learning standards and by providing principal oversight and feedback with professional development that supports classroom instruction. In the plan, the district would write a SMART goal for graduation rate. The additional information is used to inform strategies and action steps for the graduation SMART goal. The CCIP needs assessment will again identify 8 improvement areas. These 8 areas create a framework where specific areas of improvement can be added to address the needs raised in the priority needs statements. When defining your needs and improvement areas, you'll want to focus on the systemic challenges, not the symptoms. Keep in mind your sphere of influence and focus on the change of adults and not the students. Emphasize what you can control versus what you can't control. The symptom can be reduced or eliminated if the systemic challenge is addressed. Multiple root causes are common in a complex system such as education. The final step in the CCIP needs assessment is identifying the improvement areas to address your priority needs. In this section, you'll enter statements based on one or more of the 8 improvement areas directly linked to the relevant data points provided and your priority needs. These statements will complete the statement, "We need to..." You may not need improvements in all 8 areas. Only enter statements in the areas identified. In our priority need example, we said, the district needs to improve its graduation rate by aligning its curriculum to Ohio's learning standards and by providing principal oversight and feedback with professional development that supports classroom instruction. This need could lead to the goal of improving the graduation rate. It also identifies improvement needed in curriculum, principal oversight, and professional development to reach this goal. On this screen, you would enter a statement under Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment regarding the need to align the high school curriculum to Ohio's learning standards to improve the graduation rate. You may want to enter statements in the area of leadership to address principal oversight and in the area of professional capital to address the professional development needs. Once you've defined your priority needs and improvement areas, you can start creating your plan. When you initiate your FY21 application, you'll start by copying forward your FY20 plan. That plan then can be revised to meet your current needs. When moving from your needs assessment to creating your plan, you'll use district-identified priority needs to create your SMART goals. Your statements in the 8 improvement areas will create the evidence-based strategies. To begin working on your plan, open the CCIP Planning tool. First, change the fiscal year from 2020 to 2021. This will start the process for the new year plan. You may either keep your goals or create new goals to address the district-identified needs. Next, you can select Copy Plan from Previous Year. Then, select the district or building plan you want to work on. Remember, the district plan creates the SMART goals and strategies that will export to each building. Action steps are created in the district or in the individual buildings. Let's talk first about SMART goals. All plans will have SMART goals. we recommend limiting the number of goals. You want to focus on just a few goals that will have the most impact on your areas of need. For most districts, 3 to 5 goals is sufficient and manageable. When writing a SMART goal, please make sure to include the required elements. Your SMART goal can follow a formula to make sure you're identifying the time frame and measures, as well as ensuring that the goal is attainable. Let's look at an example. Using the priority needs statements from the CCIP Planning Tool Needs Assessment, the district has identified 3rd grade Ohio State English Language Arts Writing Assessment as a priority need with issues involving instruction, curriculum, and family engagement. You can create a SMART goal incorporating that priority need. You can also use the improvement areas indicated to create your strategies. In this instance, the SMART goal is to increase the ELA writing passage rate by 9%, and the strategies will be in the areas of curriculum and instruction and family engagement. If you've decided to start your plan from scratch, you'll first need to write your SMART goals. To create a new SMART goal, select Create SMART Goal. You may want to print a copy of your imported needs assessment to help you with creating SMART goals and strategies. Click on Create SMART Goal. Since you copied your plan from the previous year, you'll need to edit the goals, strategies, and action steps to align with the needs assessment. To edit, you'll simply click the title of the goal, strategy, or action step in the copied plan. If you want to write a new SMART goal, select Create SMART Goal. Again, we recommend only 3 to 5 goals overall. When you begin a new SMART goal or edit an existing goal, a pop-out screen will be generated with the required components of the SMART goal. Give your SMART goal a title. The SMART goal should focus on the priority needs that align to your needs assessment. The next box is for SMART goal. Enter the SMART goal here. Also, in the pop-out is the student measures and adult implementation measures to address the SMART goal. Enter those measures in these boxes. To complete the writing of the SMART goal, you'll need to add the student and adult measures. For example, for the SMART goal, classroom behavior discipline referrals will decrease by 5%, and absenteeism as measured on our attendance records will decrease by 2% each year from 2019 to 2022. You would provide a measure to monitor student progress and adult implementation. The student measure is a progress monitoring measure used to pace and gauge the progress of students within the school or district in order to achieve the stated goal. An example of a student measure for this goal could be student attendance will be 90% or higher each quarter, and discipline referrals will be monitored each month and evaluated for students with multiple occurrences. The adult implementation measure is a benchmark used to pace and gauge the progress of adult implementation of a strategy within the school or district in order to achieve the stated goal. An example of an adult implementation measure for this goal could be teachers with 5 or more discipline referrals weekly will work with the building PBIS team to identify triggers for behavior occurrences. After creating your SMART goals, you'll need to create or edit the strategies for the plan. Click Create Evidence-Based Strategy. A pop-up window with a strategy title and description will be generated. Use the identified areas for improvement as your strategy title. The strategy description is completed with additional details from the root cause analysis of systemic challenges and a description of what type of evidence-based activities the district will implement under this core improvement area. The strategy description should detail the activities or program being utilized. Benchmark measures are optional. Finally, select all the improvement areas this strategy will touch on. This is located under the Benchmark Measure text box. You'll need to do this for each strategy. A word about evidence-based strategies and the improvement plan. Evidence-based strategies are practices or activities that have been evaluated and shown to improve student outcomes. In Ohio, we have 4 levels of evidence. There are 2 data sources that offer information on evidence-based strategies. However, many strategies or activities may not have enough research to reach the level of being evidence-based. Here are 2 sites that can help you with evidence-based strategies. First, the Ohio Clearinghouse can be accessed from ODE's website. Resources within Ohio's evidence-based clearinghouse explain the many benefits of evidence-based strategies and help educators identify those strategies that meet ESSA's evidence-based levels 1, 2, and 3. In addition, the What Works Clearinghouse offers links to research by topic. For the improvement plan, you likely will find that not all strategies are a level 1, 2, or 3 level of evidence-based. Level 4 strategies or activities mean that the district will monitor and evaluate over time if the strategy is effective. You can monitor the strategies and activities in the improvement plan using the performance measures in the goal. The new 3-year cycle for planning that all districts will do once their cohort begins allows for this ongoing evaluation and rewriting of strategies based on outcomes. It's possible that not all strategies will be evidence-based at the end of the cycle. For now, it's recommended that the district have several 1 to 3 level evidence-based activities in their plan, with some level 4 activities. Once you've updated your strategies, you'll need to add or edit your action steps. Action steps describe the implementation steps of the strategy. You should have action steps at the district and, if required, at the building level. Buildings that are required to have a plan can select the district's action steps or write their own action steps. They can also edit the district's action steps. This flexibility allows for a differentiated approach to the professional learning, resources, and roles that are used in the plan. Again, we recommend 3 to 5 action steps per strategy. Schoolwide Title I buildings and buildings with an improvement label are required to have a building plan. The Create or Edit an Action Step link is below the strategy. You'll need to expand the strategy to find the link. Click Create Action Step for a new action step, or simply select the title of an existing action step to edit it. A pop-up window to add or edit the action step title and description will be generated. Remember, the action step should describe who, what, when, and how. There's an optional section for benchmarking the action step as well. Here's a sample of an action step to implementing school-wide social and emotional learning. Notice that they're somewhat sequential and answer the questions who, what, when, where, and why for the evidence-based strategy. Action steps describe how the strategy will be implemented and supported. A district may write action steps in chronological order, such as Year 1, Year 2, Year 3, or they could also write action steps that are grade span specific, or, as in this example, step-by-step chronological order. Step 1 is to research and create a multi-tiered system of supports. Step 2 requires setting up a timeline for implementation. Step 3 is professional development. And in Action Step 4, you evaluate and adapt for sustainability. Once your plan is complete, you'll need to connect the plan to the required components. The required components for each district or building are based on their labels and Title I school-wide status. District-level components are connected at the strategies in the plan. Building-level components are connected to the building-level action steps. In the future, when you begin to use the One Needs Assessment, this step will be eliminated. All districts will be using the new One Needs Assessment next year when they begin their plans. If you're not sure what components the district is required to link your plans to, a School Labels Flowchart is available in the Fiscal Year 21 Planning tool in the Document Library under CCIP. The component relationship is created by selecting Create Component Relationship under the strategy or action step. Here's an example of one under a strategy. Next, we'll discuss aligning the plan to your fiscal resources. The final step in the CCIP plan is to indicate which grants will be used to implement each SMART goal. This is an estimation used for planning. Most likely, you'll not have the actual dollar amount since allocations will not be available until mid-June. A good rule is to base an estimation on the previous year's allocation. Because these funding resources are estimated at the goal level, you may need to use more than one grant to implement the strategies and action steps. For example, you may have an academic goal that involves the use of Title I funds for a new academic program and Title II funds for staff training on that program. All funds must be used in a way that meets the intent and purpose of the grant, so please refer to the ODE spending guides for additional guidance. To create the Fiscal Resources link for your funding application, click on the link here. The fiscal resources are estimates for the purpose of planning. This must be completed as these link the SMART goal to the fund applications later. This should be completed prior to the submission of the application. A pop-up window will be generated with a funding application drop-down and a grant drop-down. Choose the one or more grants that the district would like to use to fund the SMART goal. While only one grant can be selected, creating multiple fiscal resources is allowable by clicking Create Fiscal Resource again. With the implementation of the One Needs Assessment and the movement toward the One Plan, there are some minor changes to the CCIP. These changes will be visible to all schools and districts, but most will only be used for those participating in the One Needs pilot group this year. We'll briefly review these changes so you'll be aware of them. The first change you'll notice when you go to the Planning tool is that your district's cohort label has been added. Secondly, there's a Plan Review Submission Status button. Pilot districts will use this button to communicate to reviewers that they've completed their plans and they're ready to be reviewed. Since you are not in the pilot, your federal programs consultant will be the only person reviewing your plan, while those in the pilot will have multiple reviewers to provide feedback. It's not necessary for you to use the button unless you would like to inform your federal programs consultant. This button is only used for the initial submission of the plan. You can go in at any time and make changes or updates to your plan, and you will not need to select Submit again. The Plan Review Status page will be located under the Plan Function section on the planning screen. Also, a history log function was added to the planning tool, similar to what is currently in the funding application side of the CCIP. You will not use these functions this year. For districts in the pilot group that are creating their initial One Plan, multiple offices at the Ohio Department of Education will participate in reviewing the plans. There is a pilot review process page for this, and only pilot districts will have this page completed. For schools and districts using the One Plan, the history log on the Planning tool side will be a record of the statuses of review from all the different offices. Again, this screen will only be used for those participating in the One Needs pilot. You'll continue to receive your history log notes for the plan and funding application in the history log note on the funding application side. Please remember that consultants from the Office of Federal Programs are here to help with any questions. Thank you for viewing Creating a Comprehensive Plan using the CCIP Needs Assessment tool.